Hello.
Sherry.
We're back together.
Is that Sherry? Is that Sherry?
It is.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it is.
Oh dear.
you have
I
to
think
come
I better
back, darling.
leave. I think I should go. How are you, Sherry?
I'm okay. I've had the most incredible cough and chest thing. I mean, but then now I talk to people and everybody seems to have it.
That's
or
what
has
I
had
just
it.
had.
Or,
Yeah.
it's extraordinary. I don't know what it is.
How long did it last for, Sherry?
Well, I've had it for about 8 weeks now.
Bloody hell.
I've been to doctors.
I've been moaning the last couple of weeks I've had it, but I had to have antibiotics. Did you in the end?
Yeah, didn't work.
Really?
Yeah,
really.
So then I've got to go for X-rays now to see if I've got, you know, an infection or just
You sound
driving me mad. It's making me very angry with the world, you know.
Of course.
You can't do anything.
No.
It's so debilitating. But I will tell you a very well. It's against me really. So I did have to catch a train to London a few weeks ago, and I wasn't feeling great. But I thought, no, come on, get yourself together and stop being so pathetic. So I did. I got on the train. And I had these very lovely trousers on, of which I opened the top and the zip when I sat down, as you do, to let the stomach out, to breathe. And anyway, right at the very end of the journey, well, within about 15 minutes, a man came up to me and said, "Hi, just want to tell you I love Benidorm. I met you in Benidorm. Do you mind if I sit with you?" So I said, "Yes, okay." And they sat down and he was talking about Benidorm, and we got to London. And he said, "Oh, I'll help you off with your bag." And I said, "No, don't worry," because I thought I've got to do my trousers up and put them back together again. So no, I went, "No, I'll do it. It's okay." I went, "Okay," stood up, and I couldn't then say, "Excuse me, I've got to pull my trousers up and zip and everything," because I felt so embarrassed. Anyway, we got off the train, and as we were walking from the train to the concourse, my trousers started to fall down. Now, fortunately, I'd got a coat on, which was just sort of knee length. By the time I got to the concourse, my trousers were around my knees. And I didn't know what to do. And I kept sort of bending. This guy must have thought, there must be something wrong with her. Because I was bending down and I kept shoving things up. Oh, it was awful. By the time I got to the taxi, I mean, I might as well have not had any trousers on at all. It was just the most embarrassing thing. And I could feel them slipping down. I got nice knickers on, so that was all right.
You had nice knickers. Did you say you had nice knickers on?
Yes.
Oh,
thank God it wasn't.
Had I been exposed, it would have been not so bad.
Oh, that's good.
Thank God it. Just saying, thank God it wasn't D, because as we know, she doesn't always win.
Never.
So at least you've had...
But you know, I tell you something interesting. Since Neil, my ex-partner, who's in rehab for his stroke rehab, he is now, because he can't still move some of the left-hand side of his body, but it's quite funny because his trousers keep falling down. When he walks across the ward, his trousers fall down. He's got these, these pulley trousers that he can only do with one hand, not two hands. So he doesn't do them up properly. So when he's walking, so he's learning now to walk. But as he's walking, he provides the entertainment because as he walks, his trousers just fall down, and then he can't bend down to pick them up. So it's a bit of a disaster.
Oh, how embarrassing!
Well, I mean,
just embarrassing beyond belief. But anyway,
thank you for sharing.
My trousers up now before I actually get into the station.
Yeah,
that's the idea.
Sherry, have you got trousers on now?
No, I've got a dress on now.
Thank God.
Oh, can I see your dress, please? We're gonna do this. Come on. Let's have a look at you.
Gorgeous.
Is this a little?
Wow.
thingy dress, you know, that you're supposed to wear. Everybody wears trainers with these kind of dresses, don't they?
They do.
I've never got into that, so I
No,
just
dear.
wear boots.
Always,
but
yes, always a heel or a boot. Listen, darlings, I love you, and I'm loving hearing about your knickers or no knickers, but I'd like to bring in our guest, if I may, please.
Yeah.
Let's see if you've got knickers.
Well, you can ask him, Debbie.
Earlier, he was in a towel, but now he's dressed, I think. But it is the sensational Jay McGuiness.
yay!
And here he is, the wonderful Jay. Now, darling, we, of course, have worked together very closely in the show called Sleepless. We didn't get much sleep because we were cut off before COVID, just before lockdown, and then we came back. And I can just share with you, ladies, he's an absolute nightmare to work with. He's really difficult, aren't you, darling? Love you, darling. There we go.
Love you lots.
How are you, sweetheart?
Yeah, I'm really well. I'm in Sunderland, day one of a new show, and I feel very cozy. I'm really enjoying my life at the minute, and I'm really excited to be here because I've watched your shows and they're really, really funny.
Sunderland. I come from Sunderland, and Sherry's father came from
My
Sunderland.
dad came from Sunderland, way.
I thought you were a bit nuts though, Sherry.
Well, Nottingham was a place where my other family grew up, but my dad was from Sunderland.
So you're a bit
And I was born in Sunderland.
amazing. It's well, so far, one day in, it's lovely.
It's bloody cold, isn't
Very
it?
friendly people.
It's freezing, and what's funny, I was wearing shorts for the press day, and everyone was saying, "Isn't there always some lad that just wears shorts everywhere?" I was like, "Yeah, I am that lad."
Well, I can almost promise you that you won't be there for long with those shorts on in Sunderland, because
Freezing.
that north wind, it gets right up your whatsits. It really
Debbie.
does when it starts to blow.
It does, yeah. I felt like my shorts.
I think we need to stop that language. I'm sorry. Anyway, but you also live in LA, don't you? You go all over the world with your work. It's amazing.
Yeah, so I spend most of my time in LA, but when I work, and all my work for the past few years has been either theatre or the Wanted reunion that we did. But when I'm not here, I'm in LA. But I feel like I'm going to move back soon. In the next couple of years, I'm ready to be back, I think.
That's interesting, isn't it? That journey of being there, and then actually you want to come home.
Yeah, I think it's fun in your 20s. I'm 32 now, and I feel like I'm
so
over-
sorry.
welcome.
Because we're only about 35, so yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh God, darling, I've got to tell you, I wasn't born in Sunderland,
No.
and I've never been. Just saying.
Well, you should come.
I played it once.
Well, as
Empire.
my mother used to say, it's a great place to come from, not to go to.
Well, except that it has one of the best theatres in
In the
Yes.
world. It's fantastic.
in the UK. That Sunderland Empire. I don't know if you know this, but when you stand on the stage in the Sunderland Empire and you look to the right, they have what they call the slippers that go up either side. But if you look to the right where the stores are and to the left, all along the walls were little doors. And you used to apparently they were made for people who hadn't got any money. So they used to pay a farthing or something like that to go in those little doors, because it was a variety house like all those theatres were. And they could come in, there was a barrier, and they could watch the show from the side. Now, I think they blocked all the doors up, but they're all there still. The history of that theatre is absolutely amazing.
Yep. And Sid James died on stage there.
He did, and
Wow.
I sat in his dressing room and talked to him
Oh,
when he was dead, not when he was alive.
Of course.
yeah. And it wasn't actually as he died, it was subsequent to that, wasn't it?
Oh no,
After
many
that, yeah.
years later, of course.
Yeah, many years
The
later.
ghosts.
But darling, tell us about your show, Jay.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned Sid James, because the taxi driver that took me from the hotel to the theatre said, "Oh, no way, you know Sid James from Carry On movies, he died here." And I thought, no, that's crazy. And then the dressing room that I'm in is called the Sid James dressing room.
Oh, you're in that one.
Oh,
Yeah. And it has pictures of him, and it talks about his legacy, and then at the end it talks about his death on this, in the theatre.
Yeah.
And says that he is meant to be, they said he never left the place, and people talk about feeling his presence or hearing his voice and that sort of thing,
Yeah.
which is pretty creepy, but also just a great bit of history. The taxi driver also told me that they often refer to the stage door as the stag do because it was vandalized. They removed some of the letters and it said stag do for years. So now they like, stag do.
I love it. And
Yeah,
darling,
I was told that if you stand on this stage and you look out to the auditorium, you will see him at one stage sitting in different seats.
I mean,
wow.
Scary.
No pressure.
no,
Sherry,
but
though,
darling,
you
I
have
was
a
gonna
very,
say,
Sherry has a
sorry.
long relationship with Jay, don't you, darling?
yes.
Well, I mean, I knew him when he was a little baby, really. He was, didn't I, Jay? You were at MAD.
that's it.
And I taught him, and I knew then how talented, overly talented you were. and I knew you had to move on. But of course, actually, the classes there were very good, weren't they? Particularly the dance, I think.
I think like for people from the Midlands too, it's quite easy. There's amazing schools in the north, amazing schools in London, and you hear about them so much. And it was like a little island of like a little college where you just like, I felt like we were always listening to what was going on around us, but inside those walls we worked our butts off, and we really
did.
Amazingly talented people that are working all around the UK and elsewhere that came from there, and I feel really proud that that place is there.
They've all gone on to do things, haven't they, Jay?
What is that place?
all kinds.
What is it, Sherry? I didn't even know.
It's called MAD, the Midlands Academy of Dance and Drama.
Oh, and you
And there
taught
was
there.
a lady called Frances who ran it.
That's right.
And she was quite formidable, wasn't she, Jay, really?
Yeah, she had a way with words, and she once said to us, "The thing I love about you all is you're all in the gutter looking up at the stars." And I thought, wow, she's really got us there.
Oh.
And her daughter Emma, I think she runs it now. She's really, you know, that going into classes with her, we used to our buttholes
Tough,
were tight.
very tough.
Lady, but she really wanted the best for us, and she knew that if she treated us with what's the word? She treated us really seriously, like we had to be better than we were, and so we were. And I think, well, we tried to be, and it felt great. And then when we started working, or you know, me and my mates all from college have been able to work, it just makes me think, you know what, this could be a lot harder, because Miss Emma was well harder than this.
Yeah.
Jay, I was going to say,
they both were very tough, but the students that have come from there are so well trained, and had respect, didn't they, Jay, for the school and Francis and everybody. They had that respect, and that's what you have to learn in our business.
Yeah, and I think it also has that Midlands attitude of, you know what, like you feel like no one's looking at this school, no one knows this school, no one knows us, everyone knows the north, everyone knows the south, we're somewhere in the middle, but we are listening all the time. We hear every story of LIPA and arts ed and everything else, and it feels like you're just at the precipice of getting somewhere. And it was an amazing launch pad, and without that school being there, you know, what would I do? I don't know, probably a gardener or something.
Where is it? Where is it exactly?
It's really close to Nottingham City Centre in Carlton. It's not too far from there at all. And they refurbed the whole place when I was quite young, and they turned a giant petrol station into like really amazing ballet rooms. It's gorgeous.
It is very big for what it is, and the reputation goes before it. Frances is now gone, of course, but I think Emma's still involved, isn't she, Jay?
That's right, yeah. I think it's probably going to stay familial, but yeah, I think she naturally took the reins.
Yeah, of course. But you wouldn't mess with Emma.
No, you would not. It's more about, what is it? Community spirit, and maybe at the time I was very focused on dance and wasn't really much of an actor, but now I feel like I've got some of your theatrical, what's the word?
You always had. Do you remember Steve Pritchard, Jay?
Yes.
Yeah, he texted me the other day.
Oh yeah.
Tell him I've spoken to you.
Oh, lovely. Yeah,
he's brilliant,
as tight as possible.
Yeah, he's a brilliant guy, and he's still doing really well. I think, you know, he still goes back to MAD. I've just really thought about that now. Yes, I think he
I
does.
mean, I think that's a very suitable name for somewhere that Sherry taught, really,
Mad.
because she is completely mad, and so it must be in your veins, Sherry. I didn't even know you taught ever.
Yes, I've taught a lot actually in different kind of drama schools across the country, and I have a madness about me though that is sort of slightly off the wall, which is why I've kept being asked back, because I used to say to students, listen, what you have to know in this business, there is no work. So if you're going to get work, you've got to be the best or better than anybody else. So think about it. And I think some teachers thought I was really quite cruel. But I said, I've been in this job 100 years. I know how bad it can be, particularly now with the pandemic. You've got to now think beyond your box and think of all the different things and everything inside here that you maybe have. You know, we're all in that boat though, aren't we? All of us, to create a new world for ourselves. You don't have to, Jay, because you can do all, you're what they call that triple threat, which I hate that saying, but you can do it all. I can't do it all, but do some of it.
What were you saying?
Darling, yeah, I'm trying to get a word in here, darling.
Sure.
No, you can't with me and Jay.
I know. It's been, I was like, Jay, Jay. No, Jay, I have to say, talk about Strictly, because I love the jive, darling.
Yeah.
Did you really love doing that?
I loved it. It felt so good. And not just the reaction was amazing in the room. I remember I actually thought I was tripping when they clapped. It was so loud that my head got a bit like fuzzy. I was like, ooh. But the actual feeling of it was so nice because everything went right, and a lot of mine didn't, and it just all took place. And it felt like the band like the music. I really liked the music that they played, and then Tommy, the guy that sings, he did some sort of reaction at the end, like whoa. And when I was like, oh man, like it all just felt really lovely. So I love it. I love when people ask me about it as well.
And people are really talking about it still, aren't they, years later?
I'm not kidding. Every single time I go into any pub, like on this tour or otherwise, afterwards, AG places, just people come up to me, and it's different from, the Wanted fans are now like between 20 and 30 something. So they'll talk to me about various things. But Strictly fans are from 10 to 90 and beyond. And so having people just of any description from any walk of life walk up to you and go, oh, that week 6, I think they underscored you, or week 3. It just feels great. And it's really, all of the reaction is really positive. Even if they're having a moan about whether it's Craig, who is a panto villain, he's not a baddie.
Of course he is.
Exactly.
Even if it's a moan, it's just lovely. It's really been like a nice, sweet part of my life.
Oh, how lovely. I thought so, because everyone who does it says it was really incredible, and the experience actually, never mind about winning or anything like that, but to pull that dance off was amazing. And I thought you just came into your own, and it was like, yes, I'm here,
I mean, I really, the first few weeks, I was absolutely bricking it and doing something without the boys.
Yeah.
Physiologically, my body, my knees would not stop. And even though in my head I was going, okay, this is fine, like just talking myself through it, I clearly was terrified. And I remember Tess would always grab my hand because I was shaking so much. But it was the most rewarding thing I'd done up till that point, because it pushed me a little bit to get out there and just be like curly guy on the end,
Oh, that's wonderful.
Did you have any injuries, Jay?
Not that I can remember, no.
You're lucky then, aren't you?
Yeah, well, my bandmate Siva is currently doing dancing on ice, training for that.
Oh no.
Broken hand.
Now that's injuries, dancing on ice. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's high risk.
High risk.
The thing is,
Seriously.
now I want to sort of take you back a while. How did you get into the Wanted? How did that happen? Because obviously you've got a drama, you went to drama school, you had that sort of background. So going into a band, I mean, I know Phil Collins did the same thing. Do you remember him? But it's kind of like, what happened?
Well, after college, I graduated when I was 18 and just started auditions, and I'd get the train down to London. What was it? The Newark to King's Cross train. And I remember I used to, or whatever my audition was, I'd have to wait until 7 p.m. to go home because that's when they get cheaper back. And I did just a few auditions. I did one for Fame. I did one for a circus, which I actually got the part. And then one for a band that was called Male Singers Wanted. And I remember I asked my twin brother, Thomas, what do you think I should do of all of these? And he was like, don't do the band one. It sounds dodgy. And I was like, no, it's a big record label. It's Universal, but it's like a subdivision of Universal called Geffen, which was a small and not a very long lasting label. But I really thought, no, this seems like it's proper. And I did like maybe only 4 or 5 auditions. And my first audition, Stephen, my bandmate who's doing Dancing on Ice, him and his twin brother were there. And I remember they did the worst b-boy dancing I've ever seen.
Oh no.
Most awkward Irish boys you've ever seen. There is not a hip hop in those boys. But great singers and great musicians. And we just did a few auditions and then we all went home. And I remember we went home and we were all messaging each other on Facebook like, oh, this is going to be great. And we thought we were the band. And then they re-auditioned us again with about 10 other guys and just switched us through one day, 5 of us, and rotated different ones out. And poor Siva and his brothers, 2 of his brothers were really great singers and musicians. They were being rotated through as well. And then it all happened. So we started a club tour and a school tour, and our first single was All Time Low, and it went to #1. I will never forget the day, and it felt like a dream. It still boggles my mind that it happened.
Wow.
Lovely.
That's a fantastic story.
And so now you're in Sunderland. Life has its highs and lows. but what are you doing? What's the show?
It's White Christmas, the tour.
Oh.
I mean, I absolutely love it, like, so much. And like the last show that we did, Harriet, Sleepless, was a gorgeous like play with songs. But this one is back into like the dance territory, and it pushed me a lot. Like the rehearsals, I had like a Celebrity Loser special week of like going in rehearse early, so I could get some of the dancing down. It's really technical, but the whole show is gorgeous. So we go around the country. I can't tell you how good. I don't want to give away what happens at the end, but at the end there's this massive reaction. It's so cute. I love it.
Oh,
So is it? I never understand with this show, White Christmas. Is it taken from the actual film?
Yeah, it's from the film. So the film, I'm sure you guys know, Bing Crosby, Rosemary Clooney, Vera Ellen and Danny Kaye. You know, the 2 couples, and there was sneaky Danny Kaye and Vera Ellen trying to set up Bob and Betty, who me and Jessica Daly play. And it's all those songs that you know. So Sister.
Oh! So at the end you've got White Christmas.
And White Christmas, yeah. So at the very start, when me and Phil, who's played by Dan, are in the army, and we sing White Christmas then. And then at the very end, we do it with all the Broadway trimmings, with the suits and the big dresses and all that stuff.
Jay, give us a blast.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas.
Oh,
I used to know.
Where are you? Where's the tour going?
So we're
Where
here
can I
for a
see
week
you?
in Sunderland, but we're staying off. We've got a week here in the Empire, and then we're going to the Liverpool Empire for 4 weeks.
love it.
And I would be an idiot if I didn't mention that Lorna Luft plays Martha. And the stories that she's told us are mind-boggling.
I'm sure.
Michael Stark, who plays the general, he asked her, "Hey, did you ever meet Frank Sinatra?" And Lorna goes, "Frank? He's my the Godfather." Mental.
Amazing.
Wow.
Well, thank you so much for coming off the show. I feel like I've known you forever. I feel like you're one of our children, actually.
You'll have to come back on and tell us how the tour's going, Jay.
Oh, I will do.
Okay.
Fantastic, darling. Thank you
So
so
lovely
much.
to meet you. You're
Harriet,
so
let's hang
gorgeous.
out, please.
Yes, dear, not a problem. Only if you wear a towel.
Yes. Only if
Bye, darling.
only if you
lads.
don't. Only if you don't wear a towel, please.
We have security for Debbie, so don't worry about that. We love you, darling.
Love you lot.
Bye,
Happy Christmas.
darling.
Bye, Jay.
Bye.
What an
Oh,
amazing guy. Absolutely
he
amazing.
is divine. Absolutely gorgeous.
So
Very talented boy. Very.
Am I allowed to be in love?
No, not again.
All right.
Everybody to know Jay.
Every gentleman we have on our show, Debbie, it's you need to see a therapist. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, you have to
I
have
have
something.
something to say.
You have to have something somewhere. You've got to imagine something somewhere. Otherwise, your life is bloody boring,
Yes.
isn't it? Really.
In your dreams, darling. In your
Yes.
dreams.
In your fantasies.
Yes.
Well,
That's taking it to another
curious.
level. Can I just say something?
no.
I have a different background. I have a different background today because I am already in panto rehearsals. As you know, I'm playing the fairy godmother. I'm a fairy godmother virgin. As you know, I only play baddies, so I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I can't turn to any of you because you do the same stuff. And I don't know what to do, but I'm wearing white, which again is devastating. So sharing.
Well,
Yes.
make her underneath. Make her a not very nice fairy.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's
More Mae
lying.
West.
It
She's
will
actually
deepen the
quite a bitch.
Yes.
Okay.
It will deepen the character.
Yeah. So, but she pretends to be this lovely fairy, but underneath,
She's an
you
evil
would
queen.
want to mess with her.
No.
That's right.
You could
Perfect.
call
done.
her Sherry Godmother.
Oh. Uh-oh.
You know, you need to give her a side on her that she
I
goes,
will.
don't, which like she has a bit of a anger problem. But at the end of the day, she can perform magic. You see,
And at the end of the day, yeah. And the people that she loves or the people that she cares
Yeah.
about are the people she loves and will do anything for.
Yeah. But
There
she
you go.
has got an
Thank you,
anger problem.
Yes. But you've talked me through. Now I know what I'm doing. I have my performance.
Exactly.
Gee, Sherry,
Enjoy.
but Sherry, have you ever directed anything?
No.
No, but that was a really good direction. It really, really was. I think you should direct something
Right.
because
I'm going to
it's
put
very.
I'm going to put my CV in for a job then. I'll
Yeah,
direct.
no, it was such a good note, wasn't it? That was a really good note.
It was a very good character build.
Yeah, it was a really good character build. Just that one thing, you think, yeah. Because I've always felt as well that the fairy godmother and principal girl are so boring in panto to play.
Boring. Whenever I played
One-dimensional.
fairy, I've always played her with a kind of twist.
Yeah.
But she can do the magic in the end. That's the whole
And I
point
do
about her.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
She has her bad menopausal days.
And I do have.
When she gets a bit tetchy, and kind of like
And I
like
do
all
have a
of
couple
us.
of.
Like all of us.
I do have a couple of twists in the show.
Oh,
So I will work on that. Now I know. what I'm
Yes.
suggesting.
Now you know.
Well,
Jerry,
darling,
menopausal.
we'll see you all soon. We've got to go now to do our own twists.
Yeah.
Let's twist again.
Like we did last summer.
Yeah,
aging.
aging.
Yeah.
Yes,
I just
aging
heard it.
alert.
Yeah. All right,
Aging
darlings.
alert.
Love you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.